So, I mean, Gary will talk about the ape in a kind of pejorative way, which is fine. I agree with a lot of what Gary says, and in Mendham I'm talking about, for those who don't know. Um, but the ape is the ape. A lot of Gary's ideas I agree with. I may disagree with how he says them sometimes, a lot of the time maybe. But actually, it's kind of refreshing, to get that perspective. So I do appreciate Gary's work on YouTube. So, God dang it. Well, whatever. Annoying flashing light. Who cares, right? So it's going to give me an epileptic seizure. I'm not epileptic. I'm just joking. Anyway, so talking about the ape. Yeah. There's this whole idea that uh, I don't want to censor myself, so I may be phrasing stuff wrong, but I need to be able to not speak without censoring myself. So I'm just going to say it. So there's this idea that the ape is necessarily a bad thing, and I see Gary's perspective on that. I just want to say that there's a flip side to it, which is that maybe I'm getting into a little deep water here with Gary, but the idea is that there's a flip side to it, that being natural or being an ape, we are apes. I mean, we have to accept. It's not so much condone, but accept the reality of the situation. And this is kind of getting back to the ideas of it's instead of fighting with yourself, and not just fighting with yourself, but in Gary's case, fighting with other people. Instead of fighting with yourself, I think it is a useful technique, and not just useful, but important, to accept reality as it is, and that means accept the fact that we are apes. That does not mean, categorically does not mean, that we have to condone our selfishness or our quote lower animal behaviors, our bacterial like nature. It doesn't mean that. It means accept that we are that way, and it's okay, and we can change it. We can strive to change that, but in the current moment, it is okay. Now, I think Gary would have problems with that, which is okay. That's fine. That's his issue. But I think that's an important point to make. In the sense of okay, I don't mean that. Again, I don't mean that I'm condoning. Meaning it's okay. You can let it go, and let it keep going on the way it's going on. I don't mean that at all. I mean it's okay as in it is the way it is, and that's the only way it can be right now, because, if it were different, it would be different. Now is as it is. So, whatever is now is. And it's simply foolish, which is also okay. It's okay to be foolish, if you're foolish. But it is foolish to try to fight now. Try to fight against what is. You can fight to change things in the future by taking action now, but to say that we are apes and that is bad is, I think, a little too far negative and in a practical sense. So And what I mean by that is that it's counterproductive to demonize the way things are now. It's counterproductive to do that. It is not the same thing as making an evaluation of what is now and saying we want to change that. Demonizing it would mean to say that being an ape is evil, essentially. It's not evil, but again, I just want to make it very clear this distinction that it's not evil now, but it may be evil to continue to be that way, kind of complacently or arrogantly or through hubris or whatever. So, I guess one way of putting it might be that our actions, what we do with our knowledge, what we do with what we know, what we do with our capabilities as we have them, can be good or bad. But the way things are right now, the state of the universe as it is right now, is neither good nor bad. It just is. And there's no use in demonizing it or trying to, woe is me, kind of, if only things could have been differently, or things like that. We can focus on the future, but I think it's too accepting the present, accepting the way things are now, it's not just, I'm not just saying this, I think it's a practical issue. I'm not just saying, you can't do that, you can't demonize the way things are. I'm saying as a practical measure, in order to get the most out of your interactions with yourself and with other people, in order to bring about that future that you want to bring about, you need to accept the way things are in a neutral manner, not condoning but not demonizing as well. So things are the way they are. We are apes, and there's nothing wrong with the fact that we are apes now. And given that knowledge, what are we going to do about it? Given the knowledge that we are apes, what are we going to do about it? So anyway, that's one topic. I'm just going to keep going on. So yeah, I'm having trouble at work. I have a real hard time making progress on things. Much for the same reason. I mean, it's the same problem I have everywhere. And I've said this a million times with my friends in Prague. And I'm starting to understand it. I'm starting to be able to get a handle on things and not be ruled by my anxieties. So, I don't know. I'll give you an example. Maybe I'm working. I sit down at the computer and I say to myself, now I'm going to work on this project. And I sit down, and in my head, I used to think it was just like a flip of a switch, but now it's more of, there's a process to it. It's not just a sudden thing. It happens in steps, and first I guess I start to feel anxious Um, and maybe at the same time I start to think, well, I mean, I don't have this whole process, nailed down. I can't analyze it completely, but I start to, I guess, doubt myself, and then I guess I go to my intuition, and an idea pops up in my head and says, well, what if I was to do, X? And X is usually surfing the internet. And so